you for visiting the Africa Rising Cycling Podcast, where we share the big and most interesting cycling stories from across the continent of Africa and from around the world where African cyclists are racing and riding.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Africa Rising Cycling Podcast. I'm joined today by Africa Rising Cycling CEO Kimberly Coates, and we are pretty excited about our special guest for this one. On our last podcast, we had three of the world's top cycling commentators sharing their insights and opinions on the top African riders. Hannah Walker chose Kim Lecourt's 2025 Tour de France film Avec Zwift yellow jersey as her favourite African cycling moment to date. So we thought it best to hear about this firsthand from none other than Kim Lecourt Pienaar herself.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to be finally here.
I have to start with an apology. When you were coming back onto the world stage, and I have been following you forever, and because we had done some mountain biking, Cape Epic, things like that, I'm like, she's a fabulous mountain biker, but I didn't know about your past and your first go round. So I completely underestimated you. Totally. So my apologies, because I'm like, how will this happen? Because she hasn't been there and I know how tough it is. So I am so glad to be so wrong about you.
No, to be honest, I don't blame you. I thought it myself. I thought it myself also quite little. I even told my husband he was crazy. I never thought I would be in this position today. I didn't picture it. Obviously, you always have dreams, but when you're there, you always kind of look back and be like, I have worse words that I express myself, but I'm almost like, what the hell? How am I here? You know, it feels so surreal. And sometimes I try and tell my teams to just try and picture, but it's hard for them and it's hard for me to explain. Like 2 years ago, I was sitting on my couch, or now 2.5 years ago in Mauritius, like just having no paths. I was just doing the same thing over and over on the mountain bike, and now I'm here at the Tour de France in yellow. Like, it's just surreal. It really was a surreal feeling. But I don't blame you. I don't blame every team that I've contacted, everyone that said no. A few months down the line, they all came back to my husband via email saying, "Oh shucks, we should have taken the risk." So I'm so thankful for Age Insurance Rudal. They took the risk. They were willing to really reach out of the norm and look outside of the peloton. And I think I was just very, very lucky at the right time, at the right place, reached the right person, and with the right people behind me.
Absolutely. So it looks like you're off to a good season. You're back with a bang, taking fourth in GC at the UAE Tour a few weeks ago. You look in great shape. Are you ready for 2026?
Yeah, I mean, of course, UAE, for me, it was okay. I think the team was happy. We were all happy that we could see that there was good form so early in the season. It's not really a race that we want to go and be in top shape. Otherwise, really, it's difficult to keep that shape throughout the classic season, especially if you want to really be on form towards the end of the Ardennes. It's got a long time to keep that form. But it was a good kind of set point. I didn't have the greatest of winters. I got sick quite a bit in January and I lost quite a bit of form there. So mentally, it really hit me hard. But it was nice to see in UAE. I mean, the racing was very easy. There was no echelons, there was no wind. So that made it really boring. I was able to take a few tea parties in the back with my teammate Justine. But yeah, for sure, in the end, it's nice to kind of see where you are and the base you've built and what you can work on to be even better. So yeah, really excited for 2026. Can't wait to get it going, to be honest. UAE is just a bit of a warm-up, and now the real stuff is about to start.
Kim, I mean, you must have been asked this a million times, so bear with us. But can you just talk our audience through like your personal highlights of 2025?
Yeah, I think obviously there's a few there's a few highlights that for me personal victories, but also with my teammates, the things they've achieved, and in general, like the things we've achieved as a team. Of course, when we start the season, we had big goals, big ambitions going into the season, but we still didn't know really what I could do as a rider. We were still unknown. I mean, we finished 2024 with the win in the Giro, but it was still new. You know, I did so many races in 24 flats, like Bruges de Pan, which is really the flattest classic, and Roubaix, which is a very unique race. And then I went to like Flanders and Healy and Strade. So I did a bit of everything, and I was okay at all of them. So it was still a bit of the unknown going into 25. But yeah, of course, with the win at Liège was something phenomenal for the team. It was at the race we really aimed already in the Tour de France 2024 when we did the one stage. My team, my DS Jolien told me that, yeah, for sure, we can come back in 25 and you can do Liège and you can win it. And I was just really like, yeah, you're talking so much nonsense. Like, you're crazy. I've never even raced Liège. And now you want me to go win it first time ever. But yeah, obviously that was a big step in the team in general, because that kind of showed everyone that we are now here to win races and we can do it if we really believe in it. And really, it was just a snowball from there. I mean, there's been so many moments, you know, like Justine winning national championships in Belgium, going to Sarah in the Giro with 2 stages on the mountain stages, and then the Tour de France, and then Shari Basilovic, who won her first race back in the first year back in the team. I mean, there's just been constant victories, even though it's not crossing the line first, but it's been constant victories as a team in the right direction, big steps in the right direction. We've grown so much as a team, believing in each other and being so selfless for each other, and having the mindset of, okay, we're here to win now. We're here to race. We're not here to follow anymore. We are one of the best teams in the world, and we can for sure become the best team in the world if we carry on like this. So there's been so many great moments. Of course, the Tour, you know, it's a moment I'll never forget in my life. But not only me taking the victory or being in yellow for 4 days, but also just being able to sacrifice myself for Sarah on the Madeleine was probably the most special moment of my whole season last year. And it's crazy to say it because I've had such amazing victories. But really, like, if I have to think with my heart, that moment was the best moment, because it was the only time I could give back to the girls the way they do it for me every single race. I never really get the chance to kill myself for others. So for me to do it once, maybe it wasn't the right race to do it, but it was my decision. It was the best feeling ever. And I would do it again if I could.
That's incredible. I love how much you talk about teamwork. It's because that's something that we're always striving with our riders, whether it was my time in Rwanda or Benin. It's getting the riders to understand that cycling is actually a team sport. So I'm so thankful that you said that. So back to that moment when you won the yellow jersey for the first time by just 2 seconds due to the 16 bonus seconds. For the stage when you were on live TV just saying, no, 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 it's not right. What does that feel like now to look back on?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You know, we had the team after the tour. I actually rewatched the whole tour again, just because when you are living in the moment in the tour week, everything is such a blur. I don't remember any moments physically. Like, the only moments I would remember would be backstage with my teammates just crying, like small moments like this. But all the rest, you know, all the media and the stuff, all the big stuff that people see on TV, like, I don't remember any of that. Everything is just so dark for me. I just remember the small things. And we had like a team presentation. They showed a piece of the Tour de France, and yeah, of course, it gave me so much emotions. I don't like showing my emotions, but it was such a special moment. Yeah, it's pretty surreal to just know what I've done, what we've done as a team, but especially what I've been able to do for the continent and for Mauritius, just to really put us on the map. Yeah, it's really special. I actually didn't even know I was the first African to wear yellow, or that there was a what do you call it? Like, Daryl has done it for a few days and now I've kind of beaten that. Like, I never knew all of this. I don't go into races thinking, oh, what can I achieve and what can I do? Like, I only knew it afterwards. And yeah, of course, it's a very special feeling. And of course, it's nice to be that person that people can look up to and try and inspire the younger generation. Only those that really were in my position in the past can really know how it feels to put that jersey on.
You told me the part of you actually wanted to go back to being the underdog because the pressure was just getting a bit too serious, which was really a real moment. You then finished the 2025 season as the top 10 UCI World Tour ranked rider. Like, have you come to terms now with the pressure, or is that never really going to go away?
For sure, the pressure and expectations last year were, the more you perform, the more people expect from you. And once you win a race, once you're always in the top 5, top 10, they always expect you to be there. You're not allowed, in the outside eye, you're not allowed to not do good. If you're not there, then what happened? Something must have happened. You're not on form, but you're allowed to have a bad day, and you're allowed to not be where you should be and where you were last week winning a race. You're allowed to next week and just be a top 10, top 20. It's okay. We're not robots. And that's hard for me to deal with. It's hard for me to deal with the pressure, the expectations. I just want to always make people proud, and I want to reach the expectations. I don't care how, most times I don't care how I feel. I just want others to be proud and do it for them. But yeah, for sure, throughout the season, I've obviously started with a sports psychologist, end of 24, and been working with her ever since. It helps a lot. I think the mental state of an athlete is extremely important as everything else, physical, in my opinion. I've gone through races where, like you said, teamwork. I've had really bad moments, mentally bad moments, and my team were there to pick me up. And one of those days is Liège, and I won the race. So mental is a huge factor that I'm still working on. Obviously, I'm getting better at it because I have to get better at it. I can't keep on questioning myself and doubting my capabilities every single time, because then I waste energy and I get to the race and I've already lost. But it is a work in progress. I think everyone deals with it in their own way. For sure, it helps to know that you've been top 10 in the world in 25. So obviously you do belong there. It's just a matter of, dealing with it. It's easy to get to the top. It's just the hardest part is to stay there.
I love that you said that you have a sports psychologist, because I think that's so important, and it's definitely something that can be easily overlooked. So kudos to you. Your journey is a real tale of perseverance. 10 years ago, after a couple of seasons in Europe, you went back to Africa, and for 6 years, there's not a UCI race result in Europe on your pro cycling stats bio. And most people would have given up on you. Like, even I, at the top of the hour, said, you know, I underestimated you. So how did that time away help you prepare for this moment as a world tour success story?
Yeah, to be honest, in 2015, 2016, yeah, I came last every single race almost. Oh, I didn't even finish some of them. But not only last of the bunch, just like really far back. Like a Flèche Wallonne, I finished, I think, 17 for 18 minutes behind, which is crazy. I mean, that's like almost half a lap. And I remember even putting myself up the barriers and telling myself, how am I going to get up there a second time? Like, it's impossible. And we went to the buses, and me and my friend Heidi Dalton, also a South African, where we raced together at the time, we went, we saw Lizzie, and Lizzie, I think, came podium on that race or something, and we were huge fans, and we asked her for a selfie, and she already had a shower in the bus, and she was like clean, and we just finished. We looked, and we still have the picture, and we look like wrecks. But it's just moments like this where now I'm like reflecting back, and I'm like, wow, like what a journey. If I had to tell myself in 2015 and 2016 where I would have been 10 years down the line, I mean, I would have thought you crazy, like absolutely crazy. So again, I don't feel bad for you over not believing in me. I didn't believe in myself, to be honest. I think everyone has their own journey. Everyone has their own paths. I almost stopped cycling in 2016 when I had a really bad year, and just crashes and injuries and sickness and just things happening over and over and over again. And I was just getting to the point where I was also tired of taking my parents' money and for nothing, because I was not doing anything in return. So it felt like I was just taking and not giving back in some sort of way. So it was hard financially as well, which put a big toll mentally on my performance. But I also didn't see myself being there. I mean, I was really weak physically, but mentally as well. And the combination was terrible. But I believe like the fact that I had to go back home for 8 years and take a different line, and that was mountain biking, helped me. Um, and that's how they say, things happen for a reason and you don't understand it at first, but then later on you will be like, oh, that's why. That's why this happened. That's why that happened. And you never see it at first or you never understand it. Everyone has their own paths, and if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. And I kind of also say that to my teammates now who are young. They're 20 or 21 and 19, who my age at the time when I came last. And I told them, well, you're already doing much better than I am now at my age 10 years ago. It doesn't mean because I'm winning races now that you need to do it. Like you could be doing it in 5 or 6, 7, 8, 10 years from now. It's just everyone has their own paths in their own time. They'll get there. And they really like that. They really like my journey, my story, because I suppose it's quite inspiring.
And actually, the last 12, 18 months, we've heard from so many young female riders across Africa about how much of an inspiration you are. And you've always been, as you said earlier, you've been very open in the way you talk about your journey and what you do. In 2026, there's going to be 20 African women on UCI teams across the world, which is the first time ever it's hit 20. That includes your fellow Mauritian, Lucy Meyer, on the World Cycling Centre team, which obviously you know quite well from back then as well.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, and it'd be great to get your views on Lucy, but I wanted to ask you about someone else. I was talking to you at the World Champs in Kigali briefly about Siga Kase Kiros from Ethiopia. She lit up the women's junior race, and there's a rumor you called your team almost straight away saying, we need to get hold of this girl. Is that true? And what is it that you saw in her and on that day?
Yeah, so the junior race was the morning of our race, and obviously we were watching it. And I remember we were at the tents and we were watching the final of the junior woman race. And I had my team with me, my DS, my mechanic, and my soigneur from the team, from AG Insurance Sudal. I brought them with me to Worlds. And we were watching the race. And obviously my eyes always go for the Africans more when I watch a race. Like, it's just how it is. And we couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe our eyes how good she was riding. Like, not only on paper, her position at the end, but the way she was riding with that, selfless, I don't care that you're from a big country and you don't know where I'm from, but I'll show you kind of attitude. And that's the attitude we need to have as Africans when we go onto the world stage, because we always feel out of place. We always feel we're not used to being in that environment. We don't have the same support system. We don't wake up with, a chef and breakfast on our table. Like, it's not the same support system. And that changes a lot, like mentally. And my eyes opened when I joined my team. It was it was crazy. And I think we'll maybe get to that a bit later. But seeing her ride the way she did, I was like, oh my word, she's so strong. She has a different mindset compared to other African riders I've seen or witnessed. Just the courage she has and the way she just didn't care. Like, she didn't care if she came last or not. She just gave everything she had. And when she crossed the line, I looked at my DS and I was like, I said something else that's a bit worse, but I said, flip, we need this chick in our team, like in the Devo team. And I did say it, and I said, we need her. And then my DS was also like, yeah, that's a good idea. But then I know that Canyon reached out, as they would. And I think she's now with Canyon, right? If I'm not mistaken, which is great. Whether it's with us or another team, as long as she gets a shot, it's great. I'm really happy for her. And I'm sad it couldn't be us, but obviously, if it's another team that took her, at least she gets the door open and the foot into the door, which is, really, really happy for her.
What have you got to say about Lucy? Been pushing you hard at the Eurasian national champs for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see Lucy and Alex actually, stepping into the pro ranks. They're now living in Girona, which is flipping awesome for my part, because now I feel like we're taking over. I've got also Tiffany from South Africa that also is now coming to Girona. So it's really nice. We have so many Africans. I think Stefan is coming back. I saw Byron the other day. So it feels really a little bit of a group of home. Of course, Lucy, Yeah, what a character. She's always had the dream. She hasn't been in cycling for long. She kind of got into it more seriously once she met Alex, the love of her life. So now she's really dedicated. She always reaches out for advice. She's obviously met my DS at Worlds. She always reaches out to her for questions or advice as well, and Alex for the same thing. Yeah, I think it's huge talent, huge potential. I just think she needs to have the right guidance in terms of everything else but training, nutrition, mental health, the mindset, the belief, because I always say it, but it's the biggest thing for me, and I believe for any athlete. I know she's doing improvements on that, on the nutrition part. She's contacted someone part of my team for it. So she is doing everything she can to make a difference in her career. And yeah, really excited to see how it goes for her this year. I mean, now she's in training camp in Calpe with UCR Center. So yeah, looking forward to seeing her when she comes back. And yeah, just seeing how the year goes.
I love what you said about Lucy too, because selfishly, we have a Benin rider, Georgette, who is just turning 19. She's on the UCI World Cycling Center team as well. And Lucy has just taken Georgette under her wing and been a big sister to her. And yeah, it's super helpful for us because as you can imagine, Georgette coming from Cotonou, Benin, and ending up, in places like Switzerland and Girona. And yeah, I mean, we've just blown up her world. So having a stabilizing force like Lucy is super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be really overwhelming. It's always nice to have someone you can lean on, that can that's been through the experience and can kind of teach you to go through it as well. But I believe, everyone needs to also experience in their own ways. Everyone experience things differently. So I think it's also important for everyone to kind of have their own, I wouldn't say mistakes, but their own ways of dealing with failure, because it can't always be smooth. You have to go through the hard times to get better as an athlete, physically and mentally. But it's always nice to have someone there where you can feel a bit like home.
Definitely. So switching gears a little bit, I've always admired your honesty and openness. And I just remember your interview at the Tour de France, and you openly talked about being on your period and how the effect it had on you. And as you probably know, especially working with African women, um, there's a lot of secrecy around things and cultural obstacles that, excuse me, that we deal with. So you talking openly about it, we talk openly about it at our team house in Benin, that this is just part of life and it's nothing to be embarrassed about. This is it. So, do you agree it's vital to start normalizing these issues in women's sports?
I think the most important is to talk about it. I mean, you need to also find people around you that is willing to try and understand. Preferably have women around you because they obviously understand it. They've been through it. I think it's harder to speak to men. They don't really understand it as much as we would, as much as they want to try and understand it. It's just not going to be the same. They just haven't felt it the way we have. So I think just being open and honest and talking about it is important. Having the right support system. I mean, in the team, we have sleep coaches and mental coaches and nutritionists, and everyone is so on it. And, we have doctors who do research until today about it to try and get the most optimal recovery, whether it's recovery or best sleep or how you would deal with training if you're in that specific week, or how you would deal with racing if you're in that specific week, what temperature your body goes to when you're in that specific week, how much must you eat, how much must you drink, how much must you sleep. Like, it's just so detailed, and of course there's so much science behind it where I'm not qualified enough to say too much, but for sure the team works on it, they're open about it, and I think it's more and more becoming the case in women's cycling, which is great. I think more and more women are talking about it. And yeah, it's just sad when some do not want to talk about it, and are shy to talk about it, because the more you do, the more research can be done, and the better we can, in general, handle those things for girls that do not have the possibility of being part of the research or being part of a team like I am.
In preparation for today, I took the Tim LaCourte test on pro cycling stats. And I'm pretty happy. No Googling. I actually got 8 out of 10. So that was a pretty good result. It was one pretty obscure question. You'll have to take it yourself and see what you get. But I was chatting with Stefan, who runs pro cycling stats. And they're so, like you were just talking about, and you have talked about, everyone is so focused on the data. When we were talking about you, and he said, "Oh, you need to ask her one question. How should we write her name?" He was really specific. He was like, "At the moment, it's Kimberly brackets LaCourte Pienaar." He's like, "I need to know if that's correct." So what is the official answer?
Yeah, I don't know. I still want to keep my LaCourte there. But I think Kimberly is way too formal. I think we can just keep it to Kim. And I also like in my races, like, on the start line names, it's just so long. It's Mary, Patricia, Kimberly. Like, there's not even space for my whole name to be written on the paper. It's like ridiculous. I've got the longest name there. They need like 2 A4 papers just for my name. It's ridiculous. So I think to keep it short and simple, it could be just Kim LaCourte Pienaar.
So just talking about Mauritius, the country in general, and seeing cycling rise so dramatically. I mean, it finished top 5 in Africa Tour for the men at the end of 2025. Obviously, you've put women's cycling on the map, you and Lucy. What do you think needs to be done to develop more athletes like you, like Lucy, like Alexander?
Yeah, I think it's already very nice. I mean, we've said it already that it's very encouraging to see Alex and Lucy now in the pro ranks. It shows that the level is going up, and it shows that the potential and the talent is there. For sure, like we want to have more riders from Mauritius, from Africa in general, at the very top. With Mai being there, and then now me and Ashley and now Alex and Lucy being there, and so many younger Africans, putting their foot in the door is so inspiring for the younger generation and others that have not been able to get the opportunity. In my opinion, the talent is there. There's so much talent in Africa, and I've said it to my team. I've said it many times. You need to try and look outside of the peloton. There's so much more. I've said it so many times, and I don't think I'll ever stop saying it, is the belief in yourself as an athlete is so powerful. You will never get back up the way you should if you don't believe in yourself. If you can't sell yourself in the way that I really want this, I need this, I can do this.
And the last question, what would you say are the most important things for young athletes that are looking up to you that they should focus on?
You don't need to have this whole luxury around you to be able to be where I am today, but you need that one person that is willing to actually completely push you to the next level. It is very scary. Europe is a different world. Europeans won't understand that. It's completely different. They don't think like us. They don't treat each other the way we treat each other in Africa. They don't care as much as we do for each other. It's completely different. But the risk is most times worth it. And I hope that what I've kind of built the past 2 years hopefully inspires the younger generation to be like, okay, flip, this is possible. She's done it. She was from almost the smallest African, I don't even actually know if there's the smallest African country in the African continent, but I would believe so because you have to zoom on the map to see us. And she's now there, like in the top 10 in the world. Like it is possible. And it's just a whole mindset shift.
Well, look, thanks for your time today. And it's been wonderful to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was nice.
That was very nice. Thank you so much. You're such an inspiration.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Africa Rising Cycling Podcast. If you like what you have heard, please do share our podcast with your friends and on social media. Leave us a review or even make a donation to Africa Rising Cycling. All of this will help us to continue to bring you fascinating stories about African cycling.
Come